Hey, 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 garage people. Coming at you from the girlfriend's garage. It's been a couple days. Sorry for the hat. I mean, maybe not sorry, but it is super cold outside. I got both the heaters going in here. But, good things. Engine on the stand. Workbench full of wires and solenoids. And some gauges, and let me turn you around here. Some new parts as well. So I'm still waiting on my oil pump bolts from Summit on my exchange. 1, 2, 3, 4 that fit on there. Got the double roller timing chain, but I just got confirmation that they do have the package as of this morning. And so they need to go through the exchange and reshipping status or reshipping process to get those back to me. So those will pair with these little spacers right here, and then this new Summit oil pump to bolt to the block more securely than these type of bolts. So that's why I'm waiting. I got ARPs for the good stuff, the cam retainer, the cam, the heads, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm waiting for those to come in, which they are on the way, so that's good. But in the meantime, my other order from Improved Racing also arrived. So, it's probably the last thing I'll be ordering in. I got a new dog bone oil diverter for the back of the engine. That will fit in this plug right, where is it? Oh, it's over here, right there. I was thinking it was on this side for some reason. Yeah, it's right here. So that thing sticks in there, and what it does is divert the oil between these two holes, how it flows, to make sure that it goes to the filter and not getting diverted through the block before it's cleaned. So it's a little bit narrower on the shaft, so it flows a little better. And then instead of having this plastic O-ring at the back, it's actually O-ringed with this billet aluminum plug, and it just ensures that you're never going to filter dirty oil or never flow dirty oil through your engine in case of a clog in the filter or a loss of control on the pressure relief valve. That's what this little thing will bypass, some flow, and this way it will not. It will always flow around the filter or through the filter and back into the engine, filtered rather than unfiltered. So it's just a little bit more insurance. And then while I was there, I got this sweet little piece as well. It's an oil pump girdle. If you've worked on these, you know these oil pumps always have 2 bolt holes, and they're only secured with this one from the factory because the pickup only has 1 ear on the tube. You can see how that sits right there. So I got that as well to pair with my baffle and my windage tray plus crank scraper combination. So I really am going for maximum oil control. I want to spin this thing pretty high, you know, the 7,000 range. So spent a little bit of money where I thought it was most pertinent. Good oil control there. Really strong seal on the sump and the oil pump, so I'll never have to worry about ring seal or O-ring loss or anything like that. This will control everything really well at high speeds and high Gs, keeping the oil contained in the pan. And then I got a new pump here as well. What I'm actually going to do, you can see this is not super tight right now, so I'll pull these off. Yeah, one-handed. One sec here. Alright. So yeah, that just sits like that. Bolts into that hole, whereas that ear goes on that one. So now you just are using both of them. But what I'm also going to do is pull this front cover off and take the rotors out and port all the flashing off of the inside of this tube here. The passageway there, and then the sharp edges all in there. I'm going to get rid of all that so it flows real nice, and then I'll clean it really good before I reassemble it, and then I'll shim it before, or when I put it on the engine, so it's real happy before I torque it down. Just pop these bolts out and pop this cover off, and the rotors will be in there. So yeah, I'm going to make that all nice and happy as much as possible, and I will offer up this to this when I have the cover off, so I can see the transition between these two and make sure that it's real nice and smooth as it can possibly be, so I get good oil flow with no turbulence. And then I got a few different oil O-rings in here that I'm going to try to see which one seals the best for this Summit standard volume, standard pressure new replacement pump that I got here. So that'll be a lot of fun. Also on the list for today is the passenger side valve cover with these breathers. I am running the stock PCV system. This breather will, I believe, plug into my throttle body here. Boop, boop. And then this one goes around the back of the motor to connect to the breather on the other side. This is where the other breather plugs in. Yeah, and then obviously on the manifold, like the map sensor goes there, and then my brake booster will go on there, and there's that little breather down there as well. So we got everything set up for the factory setup for airflow inside the engine, but I'll be adding this catch can here once we get everything else assembled. I've got this to go on the front, so that will take care of any sort of oil or oil in the intake charge, and also moisture in the oil as well. So this should work really well to go with those aforementioned high RPMs that I was talking about. So we will keep that set up, but I have to modify these breathers to fit between these rocker arms right here, because these are my upgraded rockers, and as it sits right now, they don't sit down. So as you can see, hit, 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 hit. Yeah, so these have to be modified to clear right there and right there. Not 100% sure how I'm going to do it yet. I'll start just by taking these little plastic covers off and seeing how much metal I need to remove, and you know, just kind of go from there. And then also I've got this nitrous purge solenoid, this nitrous activation solenoid, this nitrous fuel solenoid coming off the rail, and then this roll control solenoid. Also all need to be extended. Their wiring looms are too short to mount anything. They're all going to be under the hood. And so I've got my soldering iron. This thing was like 20 bucks from Harbor Freight, and it's a butane soldering iron, and dude, it works so nice. It just makes the solder flow right into the wires. Highly recommend it. I used to use a wood burner because I'm cheap. And it does work, as you can see by the solder on the tip there. But man, it took about 45 years to heat up, and it was so inconsistent. So yeah, that's retired to the box for now. So yeah, got that. Got my solder. Got some flux. This little nifty holder thing is super nice. And I'm gonna extend all these wiring harnesses so I can start mocking up things for these gauges, and then also get the roll control mounted up under the hood here. Not 100% sure yet, but I think it's got to go kind of right in this general vicinity. Yeah, obviously this is the ABS distribution block. There's the master cylinder, and there's the takeoffs that go to the block. So I think it might go in between one of these for the forward or the reverse, or it goes after this to the lines that are coming off of the K-member right there. But we'll see. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll solve it. In any case, it needs wires to connect to the switches, so we'll get that done. I might make a little short of how I established my pushrod length and my plunger depth for these rockers here. It was a little bit of trial and tribulation and I've done it before, but I was uncertain with these rockers, and then you read a little bit on the forums and, oh, what should the preload be? How many turns this and that and blah, blah, blah. The way to do it is with, where did I put my little, I thought I grabbed it out of here already. Oh yeah, right. No, I did not. It's right here. The pushrod checker is the way to go. So I'm gonna go over this method. This thing was maybe 20 bucks at Summit. I'm gonna check. But you don't need any other tools if you have one of these. You don't need to count turns of the wrench. You don't need to measure this with a caliper. You don't need to have a dial indicator. You can get everything you need with just this tool. It can work for setting preload. It can work for finding zero lash, and then you can dial in your own lash. If you have solid rollers, it will work for literally every sort of pushrod application, provided you know how to use it. So I'm going to talk about that because yesterday I got a little bit crazy and took this apart again and re-verified not only that my pushrod length is correct from zero lash, but also that my lifter preload is correct as well. And so it is my push. I ended up getting with my push rods that I have in there, which are 7/500s, 7.5 inch, 11/32 thick wall chromoly units from Summit. They're super nice. They give me about 64 thousandths preload before torquing, and then the torque comes to about a little over an eighth, maybe not quite a quarter of a turn. So that'll put me to about 80 thousandths or so preload, maybe a little bit less, maybe 70 plus, and that is like perfect for these LS7 lifters. So I am really happily in the money zone. Brian Tooley Racing suggested that I run the stock factory 1.7 rockers, but I'm not going to do that. This is a hot rod. We're going big. I did measure my cam lobe lift with a dial indicator because I do have B-Right tools, and that came to within a half a thou of advertised and what's correct. So the lifters will bleed down because I didn't have any oil pressure in them, but I just measured the lobe height and not the valve lift height, so I just didn't have to manage these springs. And yeah, it came out, the cam, the BTR cam, it's a 636 lift with 1.7 rockers, but I have 1.8. But what it comes to is 3 1/4, 375 thousandths lobe lift for the intake and the exhaust. And when I measured it with this, they advertised 375, and I got 374 and a half, plus or minus a half. So it's right on the money. So yeah, very happy. Slept well last night, having confirmed all that. So yeah, I'm going to get busy with this oil pump, this valve cover, and this wiring. But come back later, and I will update you guys with progress of things. And I think I'm going to throw together a little short highlighting this tool because you can measure pushrod length and preload and or lash if you want to. Well, actually, you can't really measure lash with this tool. You kind of could, but you can set yourself up for zero lash and then dial in your own lash. Don't need a dial indicator. You don't need to remember anything about turns. You don't even need to factor in your rocker ratio. You can do it with this tool, find zero lash, and then just number in your preload with a calculator, or AKA your head. So we'll probably go over that because it really helped me just kind of put it to rest in my mind. Instead of, oh, counting turns, this and that, like how many threads per turn, how many millimeters are these threads, oh, you got to convert it to inches, oh, it's a 1:8 ratio instead of a 1:7, oh, it's actually different arrangement of geometry. Like, no. You don't need to worry about any of that. Just get yourself a pushrod length, adjustable pushrod length checker, and all you need to do is measure one thing and do one piece of math, and you're set. So, and it even allows you to customize what pushrod length or what preload length you want based on your pushrod. You could even use this on adjustable rocker arms and just make sure you have your travel set, in the positive direction, so you have some room to give. And then you could use one of these to measure as well, and you could buy your pushrod length that you need, and then you have your adjustability on the rocker end for your preload or your lash. So again, these things are the way to go. Yeah. All right, update 1 on this Wednesday. Oil pump has been ported and polished. Check out that. Yeah. So obviously left the. Excuse me. Sorry, Wendigoon. Be right back. Left the O-ring land fully intact. Obviously, we don't want to disturb that at all. But these various steps in the casting, I smoothed all of them out real nice. You can see from that side, this is just a smooth step. Those lines there can catch the light, but like they don't even catch my fingernail. I just didn't want to remove any more here than I had to. But yeah, that's super smooth right now. And then I did the outlet as well. That radius right there, all the way through this channel. Right there. In the backside as well. So there's no harsh lines in there. Everything is super smooth, should flow great. How it works is that outer ring sits in this diameter right here, which I did not touch. So that has stayed as smooth as factory possible. I might hit it with a Scotch-Brite real quick. And then this ring goes on the inside, and that gets driven, these gears get driven by the hub on the crankshaft, and that's what pumps the oil. It comes in, gets compressed down in these gears, and then shoved out through this hole to go to the rest of the engine. It gets sucked up right there, sucked up, compressed, and spit out. I did put a tiny little flaw right there with my Dremel. The chuck hit it. Fortunately, this whole area is still very much intact. I'm just gonna hit that with the 400 grit sandpaper real quick to make sure there's no, I can't even feel anything with my fingernail, but just make sure there's no little lip right there, and we'll be fine. Not too worried about it. Got my new blue O-ring ready to go. My little girdle is there. I'm gonna clean this out really good with soap and water, and then get some brake clean through it, and then some WD-40. Put some thread seal on the retainer, put the spring back in there that holds the bypass valve, get everything solid back down after it's clean. Then I'll put the cap back on temporarily, and then when I get my bolts, we can mount it up on the crank and shim it just right in between this housing here and here, so it's floating, and then this will float right in the middle, and everything will be happy. So yeah, happy to get that out of the way. I'll get the vacuum over here and get rid of all these metal shavings, so they don't get close to my my motor. And then I can mess with these, and then do some wiring as well. Heater is still going, Dremel's plugged in, other heater is going again. Yeah, I think it has risen up to about -2. Let's go see actually. Oh yeah, glorious. Just a little bit of snow. I'd say it's probably about 0 or so. Yeah, nice and cold. Hey Grand Prix. Hoota. Don't like it. So yeah, we'll do some wiring, we'll do some cleaning, and we'll do some modifying. Woo-woo! I need the cars. Where the cars at? Gotta have some 2F in the background, you know, while you're tinkering. Anyway, updating back in here. Got my soldering station all set up. Flux, solder, iron, wire stripper. There's the heat shrink tubing. Got a lighter here somewhere. Oh, yeah, right here. There we go for the heat shrink. I use the WD. After I get them soldered together, I put a little bit on the wires so the heat shrink is easier to slide up and over the junction. And then hit it with the flame, and she tightens right up. So I've got the nitrous solenoid here. Where are the other ones? Here's the fuel solenoid, and then here's the other one. This one is the purge solenoid. So all of these are going to get wiring extensions on them because they all have to mount under the hood, and then they will run back into the switches that I have inside the car. Let's see, this one and this one will get tied together and then run to my, I think it's in here. Yeah, and to my Hurst switch, so that'll be a momentary switch activated there. I already put an extension on my roll control. That'll get a switch somewhere, probably on the shift lever. I think it's got a little click button. And then the purge solenoid is going to has a switch, and that'll go in the dash somewhere. And then the other switches that I'll have will be one for the exhaust cutout, and then there's a nitrous arming system on switch that has to go somewhere in the center console as well. So that'll probably go in the ashtray. Then the purge I can put somewhere within arm's reach. The exhaust cutout's probably going to go in the glove box. And then the nitrous arming switch is, nitrous arming switch, ashtray, purge switch, somewhere within reach. The arm light will be on the dash, and then cutout switch in the glove box, and then pressure purge switch on the dash, and then activation button on the shifter for all that. So these have to get spliced together, which is super easy with this thing. It works like a charm. Maybe I'll try to get a little clip of that as I'm going here. But yeah, so far so good. My oil pump is done. It's ported and cleaned and ready to install and shim and final mount. The plates are in there as well, just waiting for the bolt. Here's my harmonic balancer. That's ready for when that stuff comes in. Got my seals in my front and rear covers. Got the oil pan, front and rear gaskets, and the water pump seals there. I went through my water pump and redid the seals and checked that out, so that was good. And then I clearanced my little breathers on the inside of the valve cover here, which was just taking off the little plastic little boxes. And so then this will all plug into the factory system, which will work great. And then I will install my my catch can in that system as well once I get it on the cradle and the lines start being run, because on the throttle body here, or on the intake, this one goes to the PCV system or the evap. I can't remember which. I think evap, yeah. That one's evap. This one's it comes from the cylinder head. That one's the ventilation. So evap, ventilation, and then this one on the throttle body connects to this one right here. So this one will go around and connect here, and then it will have a tube that'll come up and click in, which will go on the manifold, and then there's a tube that comes around. It's this mess right here. So there's this little thing, which I need to get a new one for because I destroyed the clip. There's the evap canister, which will click onto the manifold, and then you got this whole mess, which goes like this. That one plugs in there. This one connects to, this is the one that connects to this, right there. This little tab goes under this little nut right here. And then this plugs into there. So all that will fit like it should once the intake is on. And then I will plumb my catch can into it as well. So good stuff there. Engine, oh, I got this as well. So this is my coolant crossover for my heads. There's the plugs on the back. But what's going to happen with this is normally this goes to the stock throttle body and then out of the throttle body and then to the overflow in the radiator. And so I'm going to end up just bending this way a little bit and then directing this instead of going into the throttle body, which I will not do. This will go right to the overflow on the radiator, which is under this side, like right there. So it'll look factory but modified. Like, I don't know, that's what I'm going for. Like, my intake is pretty incognito, especially for fast. It's really not flashy. But then you notice the nitrous solenoid on there and then the nitrous plates. So, you know, you'll notice it when you notice it. That's kind of the goal. So yeah, I'm going to get all these wires extended. And I think after that, if I still have some time before the girlfriend gets home from work, I will work on putting that roll control solenoid somewhere up under the hood. But I think I need to go see about renting a brake line bender for those, for the hard lines, because I don't want to kink them. So, yeah, anyway, good stuff. Come back at you later. All right, garage people. I'm here at the soldering bench. I know I was talking up the awesomeness that is my butane soldering iron earlier. So I figured I would set you guys up. I can show you what it takes to solder a little wire like this. I've already got them twisted together real nice, if this will focus. It's not trying to, yeah. Well, try this instead. Alright. So I start like, I'll start, fire this thing up. Hear it hissing. Take a little flux. Get that all nice and on there. We can, oh, we didn't start. Yeah, that's the noise that it's supposed to be making. Oh, that's getting hot. Hey. It's getting hot already. That's why these things heat up super quick, even when you think you lit them, but you didn't. So then we just kind of, when it's getting hot, you can test it. Still warming up. We'll see if this chitty bang gets banned or not, or copyright striked. And weld this on. There we go. So that's ready. Then typically I just flux the soldering iron here just a little, just like that. And then I can go like this. Let's see if I can get a good angle here. So where the flux flows, solder will follow. So you heat that up, and you dip your solder on there. There we go. Oh, I accidentally touched the wire with that a little bit. That's alright. But you can see, pardon the melted wire there, but that joint is now perfectly soldered. Oh man, my phone really does not like to focus on that. Hey, that's pretty good. So, then all I will do is hit it with a little WD so this heat shrink tube can slide up over the middle of that. And then I'll hit it with the lighter to shrink it down and I'll be on to the next one. So yeah, that is not too shabby as far as soldering goes. That thing gets so nice and warm so fast. Yeah, see, there's the wire that melted a little bit, but the bottom of the joint is perfectly fine. So it will be strong and it will flow electrons, which is what we need it to do. So yeah, come back at you guys later. Solder it up. Hey garage people, final update for today, Wednesday, midweek. Woo! As you can see, girlfriend made it home, which is good because it's snowing and greasy outside, so she definitely drove safe. Got the complete, well not complete, but the most up-to-date form of my motor sitting behind me. And the oil pan on the workbench. Like I showed you before, I got my seals in. Here's the rest of my gaskets. My ported oil pump is sitting right here. You can kind of see through the, there we go. Yeah, nice and smooth in there. I'm just gonna do the oil pump, or the oil pickup rough spots here tomorrow, and then that'll be done with this. Like I said, still waiting on those pump bolts, so but then I can get the oil pump on, the pickup will be ready, and I can put all this stuff on, and we'll be set to put the back of the motor on then as well, and then we can do the clutch stuff and the flywheel and the slave cylinder depth on the front of the transmission there. But yeah, that gets getting a little bit ahead of myself. I did pop this bad boy open and check it out a little bit. It looks pretty nice. We got some V-bands there for the downturn tip. The motor is down under there. There's a couple clamps, stainless steel clamps, and the bolt holders. And I haven't looked at the manual yet, but it's right there. And the motor is just this one unit drive, and I think the power just goes into the switch there. So yeah, I think that might be a much easier time wiring than I thought, which is awesome. So I'm gonna let that simmer till tomorrow, and then I'll probably look into it a little bit more. I'll get after this oil pan. All my wiring for the day is done, and in here you can see all those solenoids. There's the nitrous solenoid, the blow-off, or the purge solenoid, the roll control, and then the fuel solenoid and the fuel pressure sender are up there. And then I got the switches, and there's some more wires and stuff for the nitrous install kit in there, which is good. And then the roll control kit is right here. It's got this little, I have to repair this because I kind of screwed up this little rubber mount here, but it's got this little switch, and evidently this is supposedly gets mounted on your shift, the knob or the shaft on your shift knob. and then you can access it, but we'll see if I want it there or not. I'm not quite sure what we'll do, but yeah. So that goes with this. There's a little status light in there as well. That'll get put in the dash somewhere. That's nice. So that's why I got the plastic pieces sitting in here, in addition to having obviously this stuff off so I can get those gauges going through this new pod that I got here. So probably start working on that tomorrow a little bit more earnestly because, like I said, we're waiting on motor stuff. I checked out the fitment of the intake earlier. I think I showed that, and it's working out. It will work out just fine. I got to get some hoses from O'Reilly's. This one needs to be extended for the breather system, or maybe for the catch can. We'll see. I might hold off on that one. But this one definitely needs to be extended to connect the steam vent to the radiator. So that will be needing to get a longer piece for sure, which that's easy. Other than that, yeah, motor's on the stand. Yeah, this stuff is still under here. And there's the bell housing over there. So hopefully within the next... I did get notification that the package is at Summit, so hopefully they're completing the return today, and they'll get that sent out tomorrow. And then I did have speedy shipping on it last time, so if it comes UPS again, it should be here on Saturday, but it might come slow this time. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it was a pretty productive Wednesday. Happy with that. The push rods and the preload on the lifters is stellar. Got everything buttoned together on the top. The valve covers fit. Everything is torqued. Oil pump is ready to go. Oil pan is almost ready to go. Oil pickup is ready to go. Then it'll just be, yeah, once I get those bolts, this motor can go back together. And then soon after that, it's clutch and throw out depth time checking on that transmission, because then I can put the engine onto the subframe and put the intake on and mount everything up to it and then throw it back under the car and start getting the little fiddly bits wired in. So hopefully a very exciting next couple weeks, but we have to get over the hump first of getting the motor back together. So hopefully those bolts from Summit come in by sooner the better, obviously, but thinking next Tuesday at the late end, maybe Wednesday if I'm really unlucky. So yeah, in the meantime, keep on wrenching, folks.